Hello everyone and welcome to Neri Flies. So today we're going to be looking at how we can get this Fenix A320 up and running from a cold and dark state. It should be a pretty quick video. It is purely just a very basic run through of how to get this aircraft started in Microsoft Flight Simulator. And I should say obviously this video should not be used for real world procedures. This is purely just for flight sim purposes. However, this aircraft is study level and very realistic, pretty much as close as you can get to the real thing without it being the real thing from home. But as I said before, this video is only for flight sim purposes only. So first we'll just have a look at the aircraft itself from my external view. So I'm currently in a Swiss A320 CEO. Now I do generally fly for Swiss because I am signed up with Swiss Virtual Online. Which is quite good because you can book flights that are exactly like the real world Swiss scheduling. You have real world Swiss ops, all the real world NOTAMs. You have to file your own flight report. So if you do, if you are serious about flight simming and like that kind of stuff and make it realistic, then I do recommend looking at joining a virtual airline, because you do get obviously those real world procedures to an extent. But you do have to pass a test to qualify, as well as write a short paragraph about yourself as well. But it's definitely good fun. Another thing is that this airport, this is an add-on airport. I believe it's from Orbex. I quite like it. I think it's quite nice. I do tend to get a few FPS drops here or there, but I also do have quite a few mods on my simulators, so that might be a part of it. But yeah, I believe it's from Orbex or the Sim Marketplace from where I've got it. Cool, so we'll go on board to our aircraft now. So the first thing we've got in the plane is we've got our EFB flight tablet. Now what you can actually do with the Fenix A320 is you can actually get this flight tablet on your own tablet at home. So I've got my own tablet at home set up as well, where I can connect this through the IP address and pretty much access this tablet from my own tablet, which is a very cool feature in my opinion, because it makes it that much more immersive and realistic. Now I'm not flying today, so don't know if I have a flight plan actually from SimBrief there, but if we do, I'll whack it on. Okay, I looks like I've got a very old flight plan there. From Zurich to Rome. Yeah, as you can see, I'm clearly very early. Anyway, that's fine. So the first thing we need to do is go ahead to our overhead panel. And the first thing we always do is connect the external power. So you can clearly see here that external power is available, which will mean the GPU is connected, and then we can go ahead and click the GPU to on. And then as you can see, pretty much everything lights up on the panel there. So that's essentially the ground power unit that does power the aircraft's systems, lighting systems, electrical systems, and everything that the aircraft needs on the ground. And then as soon as that's on, then you can turn on the batteries 1 and battery 2. Make sure both batteries are above 25 volts. And that should get all your primary displays up and running and turned on. There you go, so you've got your primary flight display here, your nav display, obviously your engine display, and different displays that you can flick through at the bottom screen there. Cool. Now what we'll do is we have to align our ADIRs, so all three have to be aligned to nav. And this means that our computer systems can correctly align to the right location, and our nav display as well can also align. Don't worry too much about these auto fuel faults. I believe that's just because of an imbalance, but that will be corrected as soon as the fuel pumps are turned on and the aircraft is loaded with fuel. Yeah. Cool, once we've aligned that, we can go through our flow. So we generally start on the left hand side here. So the first thing we'll do is turn our evac from capped and burst to capped. Our flight recorder will we'll turn the ground control recording system on, and we'll give that a quick test to make sure it beeps. Cool, then our crew supply oxygen should be turned on. Our oxygen supply for passengers is already on and set to auto. This is our cabin chime calls for the cabin. That doesn't need to be touched for the time being. That's our wiper. The strobe can be turned to auto. Nav and local lights can be set to 1 or 2. It doesn't really matter too much, whichever one you prefer. And the beacon lights will keep off. The beacon lights are only turned on until the whole plane is ready and good to go right before pushing back. Wing lights will be kept off, and obviously the taxi lights, nose lights and landing lights will all be off for the time being. No smoking sign can be set to auto as well, and our exit lights can be armed. Our seatbelt signs will be kept off, and that will only be turned on before passengers start boarding. And then we can go ahead and turn on the lighting here. So this is just a bit more lighting for the cabin that you don't really need. This is our cabin pressure panel. We have a landing elevation, we're just set to auto at the moment. We have an APU system. We have an anti-eye system and our probe window heat system. So all this currently, anti-eyes can be kept off. This is already set to auto, and the APU can be kept off. The APU is usually turned on before passengers start boarding, and likewise with the APU bleed. So that's pretty much the main overhead panel setup for the time being. You can mess around with these and change the cabin and forward temperatures depending on how you like it, or the time of day, for example. But we can set it a bit cooler in the cockpit and the cabin as well. Fuel pumps will be kept off for the time being, and they'll be turned on during refueling and after refueling, so that can be left off for the time being. Then what we'll do is we'll test our APU fire test. Cool. Now whilst I do press that, there would be a display on the ECAM status to show that it is operating as well. But for the sake of this video, I know it's working. Same with engine 2. And same with engine 1. This is our hydraulic panel, so that we don't really touch too much unless there's any issues. Fuel, obviously, we do control. So that's pretty much the overhead panel. Now it's telling me there is a warning. Now we do have 9.5 tons of fuel on board at the moment, which is interesting because usually the plane doesn't have that much to start off with. Wait, it's saying to turn on the if can turn that to managed. Anyway, that's fine. Then coming down to this panel, so this is our barometer and our pressure setting essentially to get the correct altitude. So usually on the Fenix you can simply click your keyboard and press B, and it will change it to the correct setting. But if you don't if the keyboard function B is not working, you can always check it on your meter. So looking at your charts, or just simply go to your tablet and you can see your meter here. We've got 1009, which is our pressure setting and altimeter, and then you've got your meter here. So clearly here that's our time in Zulu, 220 at 12 knots. Great visibility, a bit of rain. You can see few clouds at 1,400 feet, I believe, and then scattered clouds, and then broken clouds, and then temperature is 0.8 degrees, and dew point is 6 degrees as well. So there you go, that's your meter there. So that is set. Then we'll come ahead down, so we'll go to our radio panel. So if you are tuning in on VATSIM or through iVal, then you would tune this panel to the necessary frequency, your apron, ground, clearance, tower, whichever frequency you need to do. This is your lighting panel, so you just turn on these lights. Usually we just turn these lights on to max. It just helps with the cabin brightness and lighting, makes things much easier to read. This is your weather and radar system, so we usually turn system 1 on. This will switch to weather, terrain and hazard, and then we'll turn the pred and wind shear system to auto. And that is your radar tilt setting. Then we have our transponder code. So usually clearance will give you your squawk code, which will input into this little box here. For the sake of this, I'll make it 1000, for example. So you type in 1000, set your transponder to auto, and that'll be that. Here's your little TCAS setting as well. So TCAS is always kept on standby, but turned on to TA only before takeoff. Next up, we'll just check that these are all in the right position. So engine 1 and 2 we can both see are off. Our switch is set to normal. Our flaps are retracted and our spoilers are disarmed. Our rudder trim is currently set to neutral, so just reset that. Your parking brake is already on, which is great. And your gear lever is stowed, so it's not extended. Perfect. Last thing, thrust levers are idle as well. There you go. So that's pretty much the whole plane setup for the moment. Now I will be bringing out another video where we are going to go through setting up the autopilot panel, setting up our flight program, and a few more bits and bobs when it comes to the fuel pumps and the APU as well. So yeah, thanks for joining in. This is also another, these are your switching panels as well on the bottom screen, so you can switch between your engine, so your oil quantity, your pressure, vibrations, all that kind of stuff, your fuel used. Then you have your APU bleed system, your cabin pressure, electrical system, your hydraulics, making sure that's good. Then you got your fuel, so we can see your left, right, and center tank, how much fuel is in each tank, and your total fuel on current broad. And then in flight, you can see your fuel flow again per minute, which is very important for any sort of calculations that need to be done. Then your APU, air conditioning. There we can see our temperatures in the cockpit, forward cabin, and back. This just shows us, which cargo doors, which slides and doors are open and which ones are closed. So because these are all green, they are all closed for the time being. This just shows your wheels, so you can pressure, temperature, all that kind of important stuff. And then this is your flight control. So you always check your flight controls just before you start taxiing. So you check your ailerons, your elevators, your rudder. And then you'd also set your pitch trim via this dial here. And then this is just your all and your general screen in flights. And then if you recall this, hold it for 3 seconds. The ECAM status should come back as normal. But there you go. So it's everything seems to be good. So we can clearly see here our navigation displays have aligned. And then when you come to here, what you would do is you would go to your init page and you would align so it would pick all this up from your flight plan. And we can request and then you input your flight number, your cost index, your cruise onto this page. Now this is going to be for a different video, this whole setup, but we'll have a look here, and then we can see. So what you would do is you can see IRS 1, 2, and 3 are all aligned. Now you would cross-check this with your charts and make sure that the gate you are parked at has the correct coordinates as to what is in your MCDU. As I said before, this will all be for a different video. Cool, so final thing is we'll just set this correctly. And then your terrain will also come on as well. And there you go, you can see your terrain. So thanks for tuning in, guys. I hope you enjoyed the video. It was again quite a short one and quite brief. Again, this is not for real world use and only for flight sim purposes. I myself, I'm still continuing to learn, but I have been a flight simmer now for a couple of years, but there's still plenty of things that I have left to learn. But yeah, I'm just trying to show you people, what I've learned, and help anyone out that is new to flight simming. But thanks for joining in. Please leave a like and comment if you did enjoy the video, and thanks for tuning in. Goodbye.